as I said in class, subtraction is one of the operations in math that I have probably the most problems with. Here are a few strategies that kind of help make it a little bit easier. The first strategy I'm going to talk to you about is called same difference. When I'm talking about the strategy same difference, it works on the principle of it doesn't matter what numbers you're working with. When you're subtracting, you're finding the difference, which is kind of like a distance between two numbers. A difference is a distance. So when we're finding the same difference, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make the problem easier. So I'll give you a couple ways to find the same difference. So if I'm finding the same difference between 43 and 27, I want to make this second number the easiest number that I can subtract. And so I'm going to make that a whole number. Or conversely, I can make this into a whole number so I can subtract with a 10. So in this case, I'm going to use this 3 as my first number to subtract from both numbers. So I'm going to take a 3 from both. So this is going to be a 24, and this is going to be 40. That's a little bit easier because I know my tens. So I can then do, this is really going to be a borrow, make this a 3, this is a 10, this is going to be a 6, because 10 minus 4 is 6, and 3 minus 2 is 1, 16. So that one's a little bit easier when I do it that way. You can also do the same problem a different way. So if I did 43 minus 27, and let's say I wanted to make this second number back here into a nice whole number so I could subtract. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both numbers. So this is going to be 20. Ooh, this is kind of a hard subtraction. So I can use the same difference principle even within the number. And this is what I was showing you with my hands in class. Or maybe I didn't show it to you with my hands in class if I didn't have you in class. But we're going to borrow. This is going to be 13. I'm going to use that same difference with just the 13 and the 7. I'm going to make our top number into a whole number by subtracting 3. So that's 10. Subtract 3 from the bottom. That's 4. So 10 minus 4 is 6. So this number is 6. This is going to be a 3. That's super easy. 36 minus 20. We're just subtracting our first two numbers. So that is 16. So there's a couple ways to do same difference. Another strategy you can try is round and adjust. Round and adjust, you're going to use numbers that are close, and then you're going to adjust back. This one is best shown on a number line. So if we pop a number line on, of course, remember a number line, it always goes from smallest to largest. So our largest number is our starting number, our 43. So our 43 would go over here. And the number we're going to round is this second number. This 27 is almost 30. So what we're going to do is we're going to go jump back 30, and we're going to subtract 30. So 43 minus 30 is 13. Then we need to do the adjust part. In the adjust part, we're adding the difference between our 27 and our 30. So you have to think about your facts of 7. How do you make 7 into a 10? So on that, you would be adding the difference is 3. So we're going to have to, since we took away 3 too many, we're going to have to add on 3 more. So our answer is going to be 16. As you can see, I'm using the same problem that I did in the last one. So when we round and adjust, a number line is going to help us kind of picture that in our mind. I'm going to give you another problem with that same strategy. So let's try it with our 124 minus 26. So of course we make our number line. We're going to put our 124 here. We're going to round this second number. So this one, in this case, this one, since we're doing, this is a number in its the hundreds, let's round it to a nice 100 as our round. So we're going to round this to 100. So we're going to go back 100. So minus 100. So 124 minus 100 is really 24. So then we have to think, how do we get from 96 to 100? So the difference between 96 and 100 is we need to add 4 more. So we have to adjust back and add 4 more on. So our answer would be 28. Break apart is also another strategy that is best seen on a number line, and then you can kind of conceptualize it in your mind how it works. But it's best when you're working with these to kind of try them out on a number line and then try them out in your head. So let's take a look at this again. We're looking at that number line. Here, let me get the right color. Get our number line. Remember, small numbers that go here, large numbers go here. So our 43 is our large number, our altogether number. That's going to go here. In a break apart, what you're doing is you're going to take this number and break it into manageable pieces so we can subtract it easily. So the first break apart that I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 3. You're probably wondering, why are you subtracting 3? Well, because I want to make this number into a nice round number or an even number. So this first one is subtracting 3. So I still have from 27, if I subtract 3 from that, I still have another 24 to go. So I'm going to break it apart a little more. I'm going to take my next big jump, which is my next easy jump. I'm going to take that 20 away. So now I have 20 here, because 40 minus 20 is 20. I'm just getting the same color here. 20. So if I took 20 away from here, I still have 4 to take away yet. And I can, since I have a nice 0 here in 20, and I know my tens facts, I'm going to subtract a nice 4 from here. So I know that that's going to be a 16. So again, I'm getting that 16. This isn't the only way you can break it apart. Some people like to do it a little bit different, and you'll still get the same answer. So I'll show you another way for the same problem. We would do a 43, and you could break it apart. Let me erase some of this here. Come on. Oops, erased too much. You could break it apart where we are taking, let's say we're going to take our 20 first. Because we like to take that big tens group away. So now we have 23. And we still have, because we took 20 away, we're left with 7. We still have to make it all the way to the end. So we have that 7 to work with. In this case, I'm still going to take the 3, which is going to be 20. And this time, I'm going to take 4, which is going to be 16 again. So just slightly different. It's still on the top, adds up to that 27. I'm going to show you a couple tricks for subtracting across zeros. In class today, we kind of had ones where we did decimals, where we had 2 zeros at the back here, and we had some whole number here or just even a decimal here, because really if we popped a decimal in here, it's not going to change much as long as we have it lined up correctly. So just for sake of continuity, let's pop a decimal in there. So on this one, you can do something that would allow you so you wouldn't have to borrow anything. And it's kind of like the same difference strategy, where you take, since you're ending in zeros here, we just subtract 1 from each number. So $4 minus 1 is going to be $3.99. This is really 0.01, but you know, this is going to be 0.01 too. So we're going to subtract that, and we're going to have 0.25. So this is the same difference, or sometimes some people call it the subtract 1. So now you don't have to borrow anymore. So this is going to be an easy 4, an easy 7, and a 3. Because borrowing can be troublesome for a lot of people. All right, let's take a look at this one. We have some nice numbers at 3 and 3. We're going to have a 0, but oh no, we can't take 9 from this 2. And we have a 0 right here, and then another 0 right here. So remember what I talked about in class, or maybe I didn't talk about it in your class, but in one class I talked about how when I have a 0 here and a 0 here, I find my next whole number. So then I look at this whole number, which is 400, and I take my pencil and I cross out the whole number. And then just like borrowing from one place, we're going to just take 1 from it. So then 1 down from 400 is 399, and then I'm putting my extra 1 in front of that. So now I'm going to subtract that. If I want to use my same difference strategy with this, because it's 12 and 9, I want a nice even 10. I'm going to take a 2 from each. So this is going to be a 10, this is going to be a 7. I know my 7 and 10 make 3, so this is going to be 3. Then a nice 9 minus 1, which is 8. And a 9 and a 3. Easy schmeezy. I want you to try a few of these strategies on your own with some of the problems that I gave you. And if you need to look back in the video to take a look at them, please make sure and rewind to try them. I really strongly recommend that same difference strategy. I think that would really help you, especially when you're working with these groups of 10s, because I know in class I've seen you have some trouble with that borrowing, and when you have a 2-digit number that you have to subtract from. So that same difference strategy and making it into a group of 10 I think will really help.